So I'm going to talk about what is a home lab and why you should start one. So a home lab is going to be a separate device in your home that's not your PC or laptop that you use every day to surf the web, etc. But it's going to be one that you install certain services on that are useful for your home or your life. And it's always on. It's kind of like a home server. And for that reason, you're going to want to look for a device that is low power because you're leaving it on all the time, doesn't have big running fans and make a lot of noise, something with a small form factor. You've probably heard of a Raspberry Pi. That's okay. But if you install more than a couple things, you're going to stretch that Raspberry Pi pretty hard. So I would recommend looking at a mini PC. So there's lots of variants out there. You could probably find one that's refurbished or a couple years old, and it would be much better than a Raspberry Pi in terms of what you can put on there, its performance and memory, etc. So why run a home lab? One good reason is what I'd call digital sovereignty, which just really means privacy and control of your own data. Sure, it's very convenient to use big tech services, upload your photos to Google or Amazon. They may be scanning your face for facial recognition, and they do. And your emails or documents and everything that big tech will scan to profile you, advertise for you, etc. Who knows what else. So you're taking control of your own services and data for everything that you take out of big tech and put in your own environment. But another good reason is just to learn. There is an amazing amount of creativity, innovation out there in the world of FOSS, which is free open source software. There are so many terrific projects that really, once you open your eyes to this, you're going to just be excited and constantly learning about what's out there. So that's another big reason to run a home lab, is to start down this rabbit hole of learning about all these great projects out there. And in many cases, these projects are as good or better than what you would get from big tech or another hosted service, because the people who create these projects create them with open standards in mind. So here's just some categories of use cases and uses for the home lab. I use a lot of these, and for the most part, these are FOSS, almost all of them. So backups is one. You may want to sync files across your phone and devices and then back it up to a cloud. That's going to be a lot cheaper than, say, Dropbox or paying for a hosted storage. If you can use Duplicati and use Backblaze or other cheaper services, just taking control of that, you'll find better ways to do it after you get past that learning curve. One of the best projects and uses for this is Home Assistant, and if you haven't heard of that, definitely take a look into it. I'd like to do another tutorial or video on these categories independently, but information is another use case. Nextcloud, Vault Warden, you could be like Bitwarden, hosting your own passwords if you've heard of LastPass or other things like that. Trillium is like a wiki. Radical is a way you could host your own calendar and contacts. There's network tools. You could control what's on your network in terms of blocking ads or blocking adult content if you have children. You could expose services or host your own website with Nginx Proxy Manager and Let's Encrypt. You could manage your own entertainment with Plex and downloads and serving media on your home. And then there's a whole bunch of other things. You could manage your system, create workflows, charts, monitoring with Node-RED, Cockpit, N8N, Grafana, Optane, Kuma. So lots more, but these are just scratching the surface of some probably bundles of use cases that you could use a home lab for. So wrapping things up, to get yourself started, first get yourself what I'd recommend, a mini PC. Raspberry Pi could work too, but I recommend a mini PC. You're going to want to use Linux, and if you're not familiar with that, there will be some command line copy pasting you're going to learn, but I would recommend get used to Linux and the command line, because that's going to be an easy way to access your home lab, and you won't be needing to do it too much, but to install things you do. So Ubuntu Server is a great OS to install. It's very minimal, and it will just provide you with an ability to log in and install things. So you're going to want to connect with SSH. You won't be logging in with a monitor to a Homelab. The better way is just to SSH in, install something, because this is a remote machine that's hosting services. So you're going to be installing things with containers. And if you've heard of Docker, or there's also Podman, installing containers is a great way to kind of sandbox the things that you install, so that you can uninstall them later without impacting or making leaving trails on your system that break things. Containers are how you're going to want to install everything if you can. So you can try a container on your PC first. Decide, do I like this container or service? Do I even want to use it? Try it out. If you don't, throw it away, delete it, remove it. If you do, use that same command on your PC and then install it on your Homelab. And make sure to record the commands in a note or leave breadcrumbs for yourself, because it may come a year later, you need to reinstall something or remember what you did. So just be sure to make notes of what you install on your Homelab, because you will forget after it's out of your short-term memory there. So that's it. Really recommend, if you haven't taken a look at this, to do it. It's a lot of fun, great way to learn. Hope this was interesting. Thanks.